Hello, and welcome to drillingcontractor.org. I'm Kelly Ainsworth, here at Maersk Training's newest simulation facility in Houston, Texas, which opened in November. We'll be touring the facility, taking a look at the engine room, the crane simulator, and the drilling room simulator, among others. How does this facility fit into Maersk Training's overall vision?
It fits in really well with the overall vision. I think we've set out to build a training facility in the US for quite a while. And I think Houston is the oil capital of the world. So being here is a natural step. And we're happy that we've come so far and that we've been able to open the advanced simulation facility here.
We begin our tour in the engine room, which includes a drilling control room and high voltage room. Students are put through realistic exercises that require them to monitor and address engine-related problems. Through flashing lights, alarms, and vibrations, Maersk is able to recreate the rig environment to simulate the same sort of pressure students would experience when responding to problems on the job.
Can we bypass them?
Yeah, here we go, lights out.
We're completely black out. Yep, we're on our way. Emergency generator.
Instructors monitor these exercises from a separate room. The company's human factors experts can also observe students in action, evaluating skills including situational awareness and communication. Like the engine room, the crane simulator also recreates a variety of real-life operating conditions, including snow and waves. The simulator is used for both crane training and crane operator competency assessments. In the drilling simulator, students can practice drilling under normal conditions or through problem scenarios such as stuck pipe, fluid losses, or influxes. The simulator can also run a managed pressure drilling exercise to train crew for MPD operations. The final stop on our virtual tour of Maersk Training's Houston Center is the bridge. The bridge is linked with the engine room, so the action of the crew in one simulator affects what happens on the other. Could you give us an overview of the bridge and the engine room simulators?
Yes, the engine room simulator is based on the K-Chief system that you would normally see on the majority of your vessels offshore. So is the bridge simulator. The two simulators can be tied in together or run separately for group exercises. We are capable DP2 and DP3 simulation. The good thing about the simulator is we can take past situations that have happened with other drilling vessels, be it drill ships or semi-submersibles, recreate those issues that they had before, learn from it by recreating the entire fault system. It's safer because we're in a controlled, safe environment, so we can install these faults here in the simulators as opposed to doing it in the real world, because you don't want to hit the oopsie button out there, because then we got a lot of troubles, to where we could do it here and we can learn from these types of different scenarios.
All the instructors have real-world experience in the areas they're training. How is that a particular benefit to the students here?
I think the students relate better with someone that is actually out of their field instead of somebody that has just been trained to teach a certain subject. My case in particular, I'm a licensed chief engineer, so I can relate to my students better when I'm doing a resource management or whatever training that we're doing.
The reason I love this facility is because we put a lot of emphasis on human factors and the simulation part. So anytime that I'm called upon to teach, I spend at least 50% of my time inside the simulator. So for BRM, ERM, for team-based well control, any of the classes where we have the human factors element, we spend a little bit of time in the classroom giving the students a chance to learn the vocabulary, so when we talk about active communication, we're on the same page of what we mean by that. They get a little bit of time to get their hands wet in the classroom with hands-on activities, but then we spend the most of our time in the simulator. And what I really enjoy is when we are scripting our simulation scenarios, we script them with human factor elements in mind. So, for instance, I'll sit down with a technical instructor and say, today let's talk about situation awareness. I want this scenario to be an instance where the situation is ambiguous. So they have to use different data from different areas to pull together the story. And then the technical instructor will write up a scenario. Based on that, the people can go in and then we can then debrief about, okay, this was clearly scripted for situation awareness. What did you guys do? What tools did you use to ensure that you guys were on that same page?
Are there any situations you see during the training and observing about human factors that you can learn from and then apply to later training?
Oh, absolutely. Every time we teach, even not just in the simulator, but in the classroom, every time we teach, the lessons are growing because we get good feedback from the students, we get feedback from the instructors. Every time we go in there in the classroom, people are trying out different things. Or, for instance, we've run this one scenario 3 or 4 times. I can always give feedback on what the students should do well and which they shouldn't do well, right? But this one team came together, and it was surprising to me, but they came together in a way that I'd never seen before, and they used some specific skills that I had never seen before. And the next time I taught that, I was like, hey, by the way, I've seen this run before, and this is what they did, and it really worked. And it, so it's good to see that happening.
How can recreating situations as realistically as possible help prepare students from a human factors standpoint?
Well, we see it all the time in the classroom. For instance, I'll say, let's brainstorm what it looks like to be a good leader. And they are really good at brainstorming the characteristics of what a good leader is. And then we'll run a classroom activity, like a Lego activity, where they have to demonstrate some leadership skills. And they can see some areas that they can improve in. And I have them, okay, well, let's think about how we can apply that in the real world. And there's like some hesitance. Like, I don't know how I can apply Legos to the real world. We'll talk about that, but then we put them in the simulator and give them a real life example. And I'll say, hey, remember the skill we talked about in the Lego game? I want you to try it out. And they can try it out, and then they have that little light bulb moment. Aha, it does work. So that's what I really enjoy seeing.
What are some of the lessons you've learned from previous training facilities that you applied to this one?
I think we've learned a lot from what we've done. I mean, we've been in the training area for 35 years, been a part of Maersk, and for the last 6 years we have become an external business unit, and has grown our business, and we are now 10 global training companies around the world, do everything from basic safety to advanced downhole simulations. So learning from our experiences in a lot of the other countries has definitely brought together building this facility. And the ability to simulate a full rig, so everything from the rig floor, engine room, the rig control, the bridge, the first line emergency response, crane operations, and integrating that into an entire rig training procedural discipline, training operator side, together with the drilling contractor, together with third-party providers on the rigs, and making it a safe and performing rig. That is something we've started in Denmark, and we are continuing here now in the US. And the ability to run that type of I would say operational support and prepare the operations for going into advanced wells is the key to this facility.
How can some of the scenarios and exercises run here not only improve confidence, but possibly even impact planning and processes?
I think when we look at advanced simulations and we look at the way that you improve safety, and safety is the primary focus for us, we also have to look at the operational side of things and the performance. And we see a very clear correlation between a performing crew and a safe crew. So being able to train all of this provides big value for the customers. So we can actually, in downhole scenarios, well-specific scenarios, implement the geological data from the well. We can prepare during the engineering stage of the well, have and simulate what happens with that. Then take the entire crews, put them into an advanced simulator, and have them drill the well on simulator before they do it in reality. And the fantastic thing is that you can then take this and put it one step forward and take it into the actual operation. So the technology today allows you to do what we call a weather forecast on the drilling operation. So look at the last 24 hours of drilling and look at the coming 24 hours of drilling. And by doing that, it'll allow you Could be every morning, get the entire team together, look at how's the drilling operation yesterday, what are we looking for today? And then we see, based on what we've learned from the day before, and review, say, listen, we might get into an area here, could be a salt layer, that might be problematic. And then we can do risk scenarios on the simulators. We can also do a what-if scenario, or we can do a kick scenario. And that will actually allow to prepare the crew for the next 24 hours of drilling, and maybe change the plan while you're drilling. So being able to connect the first part of it, so the engineering, over the actual performance training of the crew, and then take that out on the rig, and also implement it in the actual operational phase. That's a fantastic opportunities, and we've seen really good results. Latest Wintershall well in Norway being drilled out of a 60-day drilling program, actually be able to take out 19 days of the drilling program based on this type of training.
Can you tell me about some of the backgrounds of the instructors here?
Yes, I can. We focus very much on people that have operational experience. So when we train drillers on the drill floors, we actually use drillers, can be assistant drillers, senior tool pushers, depending on the level of training we want to run. So our instructors have the operational background. So we have captains or chief mates, train other captains, chief mates. We have crane operators, training crane operators, and so on. And what we see is the value of that understanding on what's going on the offshore, in the offshore environment is so important. And being able to make it as realistic, the simulation training, as it is offshore, really makes a difference in the learning. We look at how do we bring knowledge and competence to the offshore people? How do we increase the level of their knowledge and their competences? And the ability to work with the human element. So having people that have a human element background, our instructors here, being able to tie those knots and look at how do we actually improve communication? Because it is the weakest link on a rig that makes it a potential unsafe rig. And that are the things we're working on, procedural discipline, and making an efficient rig.
Thank you for joining us on drillingcontractor.org for a virtual tour of the Maersk Training's newest simulation facility in Houston. Until next time.